Chastity, the social media influencer and rockstar killer. Maria, from Miami. And Lucy, aspiring actress. Sydney, hip-hop lover and writer, so I'm told. And my quiet one, Mackenzie. Well, hello, ladies. I'm Bella. I have a question for everyone. Why do you think rich men cheat? Control.
I'm going home.
Don't go.
Attention.
You bring the total package to the table. You just need the right friends.
Are you my friend?
No, but you can be mine.
And power.
I stuck my neck out for you.
Thank you!
And I pulled the strings to get you onto this show.
Take all three away, and he becomes desperate.
So, what's with the apples?
Well, it represents knowledge, wisdom, beauty, and power. Here, you will learn how to gain ownership of all.
I'm gonna send you the money for the ticket, and I already have your room set up at the Palms.
You do that, babe.
Because once you have possession of the apple, no man alive will have power over you.
You make it sound so easy.
Oh, it's not easy.
Brett, look, I'm sorry.
Save it. Save it.
I get no auditions.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
I get no callbacks.
I really need to get upstairs. They stole all my money.
I don't know who the fuck you think you are, but you're no better than the rest of us.
Right now, they have a do not disturb until this afternoon. If they call you, great.
How is he gonna call me if he doesn't?
If not, charge it to the game.
Make no mistake, ladies. In order to succeed in this game, you must be willing to play it out till the very end.
This business is all types of savage.
What are you doing?
But if you follow my blueprints, I guarantee you will become a millionaire within the next 3 years. Possibly way earlier. So, are you ready to take that step?
Another day, another dollar. Ain't about money, don't you holla. 100 miles and racing, and that money conversation been my only motivation, yeah.
Up, y'all, this is Rayon Lawrence, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director.
Hey everyone, it's your girl Catherine Nunez, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director and the Council on the IE Network.
Real Talk.
Hey, I'm Gina Lou, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hey, what's up? It's Logan Browning, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Real Talk.
Hi, this is Alana De La Garza, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, I'm Diane Franklin from Better Off Dead and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. You're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, this is Monique Dupree, and you are watching Real Talk with the Director on Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, I'm Stormy Maya, and you are listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
This is Vicky Judy. Orange is the new black, and I'm here with Real Talk.
Yo, what up? This is Jay Ellis, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio. Keep it live.
Hi, I'm Frida Parks, and you're listening to Real Talk Radio with the Director. Hey, I'm Issa Rae, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And nothing less. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk with the Director and the Jedi Council, and I'm the Director. Be with you for the next 120 minutes or so. Real Talk's brought to you each and every Monday by B2S Media. We broadcast live via the World Wide Web on youtube.com/IE Network TV. the social network itself, Facebook, aka Meta, and Twitter for now. So another Monday. Thanks for everybody for joining us and coming back. Been a great week ahead of us or behind us, and we got a nice week, hopefully a good week ahead of us. Um, Big weekend for, of course, Black Panther Wakanda Forever came out this weekend to a nice opening weekend. We'll get into that in a moment with the box office numbers. Yeah, man, we're going to talk about that, today. And we'll say this. At first I was going to do a non-spoiler. So I'm just going to give everybody one, and it may be somewhat of a spoiler alert. So if you feel that you hear something, I'm not going to tell you turn away now, but if you feel that that we could go in a direction that you don't want to know about, then you might want to, skip that part and come back and listen to it after you watch the movie. We'll do the best we can, but we do want to deep dive into this a little bit because of the fact that I have a lot that has to be said, I feel. And good evening to you, John. Thank you for joining us as usual. There's a lot that needs to be said about this movie, about the accomplishment of this movie thus far, and just all overall, not even thus far, overall. So I definitely want to talk about that, but I really want to focus on Ryan Coogler and his greatness, I'll say, and able to pull this off the way he did. I want to give some accolades to some of the actors and things like that. So and honestly, all of the naysayers and the haters that are still out there, y'all can just suck an egg because that's what it is, man. This movie, Ryan Coogler was able to answer all the questions, lead things into the right direction, introduce two new characters, as well as help push forward the MCU going forward. Other stories that's going to be connected to this film. All of that with all of the pressure of pulling it off in 2 years inside of a pandemic and without his major star, his leading man. And for all of the naysayers that's in the groups that I'm in that talks about, you should the recast T'Challa crybabies, I'll call them. A lot of people wanted that character recast, and I get it. We all want the character recast. What I've been trying to tell people is Kevin Feige never said he was never going to recast T'Challa. So I don't understand why everybody was so up in arms. And the fact that the man died right after they finished the script, it's like, come on, man. But I've been trying to tell people that, but they still kept saying, people who do not know Chadwick Boseman kept saying how they know Chadwick Boseman would want that role recast, which anybody with a brain could probably think, yeah, he wanted to go on, but he would want his people to do what they do. And we'll get into more detail about it to let you know what I mean by that. Because now I'm going to drop some science on y'all that people may or may not have known about this film that I've already talked about in the past. If you were paying attention, you'll know and remember what I've said about this film. So, we'll get into that. We're supposed to move forward on our tournament, and that's going to be that. As far as that goes, trending topics is that, that's the trending topics of the week is Wakanda Forever, and not just a great, I don't care about reviews, but not just the great reviews that it's got. The fact that it's, a very, Very solid, really good, even great movie. And it stands by itself. It's not a direct, it is not a direct sequel to Black Panther. People may think that, well, this is Black Panther 2. Actually, it's not Black Panther 2, it's Black Panther Wakanda Forever. But it's not a direct sequel to the movie Black Panther because so much has happened between that time and Black Panther. So it's not a direct sequel to it. Um when you have uh think about this, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is not a direct sequel to Doctor Strange because so much has happened between Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So yes, you had elements from it. You had to bring out elements from that movie that was relevant, but it wasn't a direct sequel to it. So and that happened with a lot of the films when you really think about them, the ones that are split apart and things are happening in between them, right? So you could say that there's a lot of them that did that, but Black Panther Wakanda Forever stands on its own in a way. I don't consider it a direct sequel to the film, which is good for Ryan Coogler because he was able to make another film that stands on its own. He knocked it out the park again. And Ryan Coogler doesn't have his short career. He doesn't have any duds. He hasn't served up a dud yet. Not yet. Thank you for joining us. It says number 81, Callie Max. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you over there on Facebook. And yeah, so we'll just jump into the weekend recap and then we'll go into everything. So our weekend recap is brought to you by BoxOfficeMojo.com. Top 5 films over the weekend of November 11th through the 13th. Number 5, Smile. It made another 2.3 million, which brings the total to a worldwide of 209 million. That's not bad for a horror film. Lao Lao Crocodile. I can't believe that movie's still in the movies. I can't believe they even made this movie, but they did. 72 million worldwide for Lao Lao Crocodile. Ticket to Paradise was number 3. Brings the total to 149.9 million. So almost 150 million off of a weekend of 5.9 million. So number 2, raking in another $8.1 million is Black Adam, which now brings the total worldwide gross to 351 million. That's Black Adam. And of course, number 1 is Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which raked in a nice 181 domestic and 150 million international on its opening weekend, with a worldwide total of 331. So it's already caught Black Adam on its first weekend. Black Adam is at 351 million. So it's at 351, and Black Panther after the first weekend is at 331. So there you have it. That is your weekend recap for the weekend of November 11th through the 13th on Box Office Mojo. Shout out to our chat room, holding it down. Joseph Tanner, what's up, brother? You always hold us down. We thank you. Once again, we already shouted out John. We appreciate you coming through, hanging out, and I'm sure there'll be some more popping in as they start trickling in. We'll get started on some of the other trending topics. Like I said, that's one of the major trending topics. It's not, I'm not saying that there wasn't none this week, but really what's more of the talk in Black Panther. So that's probably the trending topic that we'll be kind of stuck on this evening. And yeah, so let's get into it. Bringing the Jedi Council, Ralph and Kev. What's good, brothers? Welcome back.
What's good?
Time to forever. Yeah. So the bottom line is, the people are you know it's a lot to talk about. I didn't want to come out it, but it's a lot to talk about just about this topic because the movie came out. We all been to see it. Um, and I'll get each one of you's of your comments or perspective on the film of what you thought of it. I'll start by saying that I thought the film was fantastic. I thought it stands alone. It's not like I said at the top of the show. It's not a direct sequel to it's not a direct sequel to the Black Panther film. And I think people should understand that. Everyone sees it as that, but it really isn't. Ryan Coogler is a storyteller, but he respects that there's more story to tell, even beyond his visions, right? There's something you have to be a successful storyteller within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You need to be mindful that you are telling an individual story in a one big cohesive story. So kind of like what he did in Black Panther, the first one, he didn't, it was really just held right there about Black Panther, right? It's not like he did more in this one than he did in that one as far as setting up the next, because you can't, like, you can watch Black Panther and not really know where it belongs in the timeline, right? Right out the gate. You saw the mid-credit scene for that. They showed Bucky, and that was pretty much, So you saw it, but you saw, they used the credit end credit scenes, mid-credit scenes, whatever. In this one, he kind of did it again, where you don't know exactly where it is in the timeline, but you do know because of the characters that he introduced, especially Riri Williams. You do know where it is in the timeline. You know that it's post snap, obviously, because Endgame was post snap. You know that, so you kind of have an idea of where it fits going in. We know that it closed out this phase, so we're a little more aware of what it is. But when you, from a director's perspective, that's something you have to go into this film thinking about. Okay, how do I set up this character? How do I introduce this character and get them prepared? Where don't overuse the character where they're not serviceable in their next, things. So, like, even with Riri Williams, I think he did a great way of balancing out her character, where we didn't get like overdose of Riri Williams. It's still a lot to learn about her, and there's a lot of other things that's people point out all the time. The fact that she's at MIT, and this is around the same timeline as Spider-Man, so she's probably attending MIT the same time as Mary Jane. I mean, or MJ and Ned are, and Flash are at MIT. So that's pretty interesting. That's just a side note type of deal, but that's actually pretty interesting, which they can always, it just leaves the possibilities open, right? Maybe her show is going to be a Disney Plus show. So who knows? You might see Zendaya cameo on her show. Zendaya is a Disney kid. You know what I'm saying? She's from the Disney family. So it's very possible that she might cameo in Ironheart. Maybe her, maybe the kid who plays Flash, and Ned. You might see them because they're all attending MIT around the same time as Riri is. So just that's just one little possibility, right? Um, he said Killmonger went to MIT as well. I guess MIT is a superhero university. Well, maybe it is. It is. It's. I mean, hey, Iron Man. That's his alma mater, right? Tony Stark. So it's definitely. I think it's going to take more. You might see more of MIT and where it stands in the superhero world, John, in Ironheart. We got a little glimpse of it from this one, but in Ironheart, we'll probably see maybe a little more backdrop of it. And like I said, this is a great opportunity to cross it over. Now, the only problem would be obviously Sony. If Sony, long as Sony don't be jerks about it, this is a great opportunity to cross over those characters. You don't even have to use Spider-Man. You can just use those characters. Remember, Peter didn't go to. He ended up not going to MIT. So, he's just going to be friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So he ended up not going to MIT. So you could use those secondary characters, give them, a little nice little cameo, stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting and go for it. But anyway, that's the first part of what I want to say about the movie. I want to get your thoughts of my Jedi Council and just give me a brief overview of what you thought of the movie. Kev, what did you think of the movie overall?
Yo, you could skip me because only thing I got to say is shut up. Oh, I forgot. This is a spoiler. This is a spoiler show. So spoiler if you were not smart enough to go out. You know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not.
Don't insult our listeners.
I'm not going to do that. I should do it because I said I was going to do it last week, and I keep my word when I say I'm going to do stuff. So I'm going to do this. They say Wakanda forever a couple of times in the movie, and I was quite pleased with the Wakanda forever that I saw. I was quite pleased with the movie in general. And unfortunately, I'm going to leave it at that because everything else that I want to say involves spoilers. And I want to really come at the neck of so many critics and so many of you just non-sayers. There's one person I want to apologize to for. I'm not gonna Wes, you know who I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say his name. Actually, I should, but I'm not going to. He actually, and I forgot to send you the link today, Wes, but he actually pointed out an Easter egg that I haven't heard anybody else talk about. That was from the last Black Panther movie, and it's pointed out again in this Black Panther movie. And it's about another character that's in the Black Panther universe that's a newer character in the comics today. I'm not going to, again, because I'm not going to mess it up, but he did, and he was very excited about it with pointing it out. So I have to go back, and there's some things with him that I have to go back and re-listen to make sure that I got him 100% clear on where he stands with the film. Because what I got from his reveal was something totally the opposite. So
that's why I actually, that his initial reaction to it actually turned me off of his channel. I was
Okay.
like, you know what? Oh, you want? Because I've seen him before being one of the people complaining about recasting T'Challa, and I was like, you know what? I'm not even giving this dude my time because I'm not gonna. I don't care to sit and listen to people hating on this film. And I mean they got their own reasons, so I'm not gonna say no reason, but it's their reason. Ain't no reason that's interesting to me. So I'm just like, all right. All right. I'm gonna not. I never was following him anyway, but I was like, okay, you lost a potential viewer, buddy.
No,
Because
I listened to yeah. So he's had some other videos that were pretty. They were pretty spot on with other things. They were pretty good. But I didn't. But like you said, like for the same reason that you said, I didn't. I
well, we'll
just
we'll get. I'm gonna get back to my reaction to all of that and people like what he was. I don't know. I'm gonna say people like him, but people that were talking about that. But I want to get Ralph's initial uh comment on the film, and then I'm gonna get back to that to talk about yet again for the very last time. I'm gonna address these crybabies that were that were the recast T'Challa crybabies. But Ralph, what did you think of the film?
I enjoyed it. Excuse me. I enjoyed the movie. I was very um beyond continuing the story of Black Panther. I was very touched about the amount of tribute that they put Chadwick Boseman into the movie. They did more. I mean, when it came on, the whole opening credits with Marvel were all dedicated to him. I mean, they only
Yeah.
did that for Stan Lee, but everybody in the theater was quiet. It was like, oh my
Yeah,
god,
that's
everybody
funny that you
just
said that. I'm glad you brought that up, Ralph, because I believe that was all of our experience. I was in the theater and
yeah,
you could hear a pin drop when that happened because
yeah,
there was no music behind it, no nothing, and it was just
nothing.
quiet,
You know,
which
and
was
I
really
thought, and I really thought that that was really touching.
yeah.
And you know, just now as far as the movie itself, I enjoyed the movie. I did thought it was a little long, but look
Hmm.
at the entire story. There's a reason why it's long. Because at first, there's no reason why this movie is almost 3 hours long.
Hmm.
It just can't be. But the storyline, you needed that amount of time to really flesh out the story, because not only were, and to me, I looked at this that, and maybe it was just for Letitia Wright herself, that while all the characters in the movie were grieving over Chadwick Boseman, and let me rephrase that. While all the characters in the movie were grieving over Black T'Challa's death, to me, I felt she was also grieving about Chadwick Boseman more than anybody.
Hmm.
The rawness in her performance was
Hmm.
like, my brother really was taken from me, and I don't know how to act. And
Yeah.
now my people are in trouble, and it's up to me to figure out what to
Hmm.
do.
Yeah.
Not my mother,
Hmm.
not anybody, me.
That's me.
And to take on that kind of burden for someone, I mean, let's be real. This is like Letitia's third movie. I mean, she hasn't been in a lot of movies. This is only like a third. I mean, if you count her also being in the two Avengers, it's like her fifth movie. That's
Right.
a really heavy burden. Where now she has gone from a supporting role to the role, the
The
main
lead.
role,
Yeah.
the lead.
It's really big.
Um,
It's a big undertaking, and any actor will tell you, and it's everyone, they always say everyone wants to be the lead, but not everyone can be the lead. You can be, but that don't mean you're going to handle it properly. And she, to piggyback off what you're saying, she was faced with a heavy burden on both levels, on both sides, on the acting professional side of things and on the personal side of things. Because just like I said, one of the reasons why I thought it was smart to not recast T'Challa, I said because we have not, as much as everyone talk about move on, move on, move on, that poor actor that would have been cast would not have gotten a fair shake playing T'Challa at this moment because he's going to be compared to Chadwick Boseman. So with her having to take on that burden as well, no, they're not going to compare her to Chadwick Boseman per se, because she's not playing the same character, but she's still taking on the same responsibility.
Well, I
So
got something.
yeah.
I got something to say about that part, about the idea of recasting him. And it really didn't dawn on me until I watched the movie. I think when I first saw the trailer to Black Panther, I didn't really realize that they were going to make it where T'Challa had actually died. But then when the second trailer came out, you got that understanding they made it where he actually died. And that's when everybody's talking about, well, you need to recast him. Let me remind everybody. Let me put my camera on for that because I want to look directly at people. Let me remind you all. A couple years ago, a guy named Paul Walker died while doing the Fast and the Furious. Okay. They did not recast him, although his name, his character's name, is still mentioned in the franchises. They are not going to bring somebody back to play Brian. They're not going to recast him. Although in the movie universe he is still alive, but in real life he's dead. Sometimes when someone creates a character or the original character and they are beloved as that character and they pass away for whatever reason, no, you don't cast the person. This is not a situation where like James Bond, where Sean Connery got older and they put someone younger. So that's a different scenario. And if that was Chadwick Boseman, where he got older and he could no longer do it, and you recast him, that's a different scenario. But not when
they
he
did it with Patrick Stewart, and Patrick Stewart was still alive.
Still alive, But this is not, and even with Patrick Stewart, that's because they went back in time. They didn't jump forward in time. But the whole idea of recasting Chadwick Boseman, no, on screen, his version of Black Panther has passed away in real time, in real life, but also in this movie verse. He has passed away. Let that man be remembered for what he did, be honored for what he did, but it will be time to move on. There is no need to recast. If you want to recast someone else, no, any of the movies, there's no need to recast his version of T'Challa. And I'm saying it like this: there's no need to recast his version of T'Challa. Now we're talking spoilers, so there is a spoiler where there is someone else out there named T'Challa. Now, if you want to do a time jump in that, and you have an actor play that T'Challa, that's a different story. But he's not playing the original T'Challa. And if I'm not mistaken, his father's name as Black Panther was also probably T'Challa.
No, it was T'Chaka. King
T'Chaka.
T'Chaka. Yeah.
Okay, T'Chaka.
Yeah.
So no, there is. So for everybody out there saying, well, y'all should have recast them. No, you shouldn't have. Well, they did a disservice by not doing it. No, they really honored him a lot.
Yeah.
Not T'Challa the character, Chadwick Boseman the actor. They honored him a lot. I mean, the film is dedicated to him.
Well, first of all, let's be clear. Let's be clear about what Kevin Feige said. He specifically said, and I'm trying to do this without spoilers, but there was a reason why from the beginning, from the get-go, he said, we are not recasting T'Challa for this movie. He didn't say that they wouldn't recast the character of T'Challa. They just said for this movie. In the same instance as, and only because, and I'm gonna be honest with you, the only reason why because in my opinion, why they didn't do it is because of the suddenness of his death, the fact that nobody knew he was sick.
Yeah,
no one knew he was sick. So it was literally a shock to all of us. I only cried through one or two scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to watching them in interviews, I can't help but feel the emotion. That they're literally trying to hold themselves together to sit through an interview.
Yeah.
And it's been that way do a lot of, and I said this a few weeks ago. I said, remember when we were all trying to figure out who was the Black Panther, right? And I said to people a lot of times, I said the reason why I believe it's definitely Shuri because of Letitia Wright and the way she was, speaking in interviews. And if you just look at her face, like at Comic Con, go back, everyone, go back and watch the Comic Con when they announced the stuff from Black Panther. They first showed the trailer or clips or whatever. Look at Letitia Wright's face. She had such a heavy, you could tell she has a heavy heart. And you could tell that she has such a
They came on
had
stage,
such a
they had to
burden.
hug the girl.
Yeah.
They had the group hug the girl. On
Yeah.
top of all of that, not to cut you off, Wes, but on top of all of that, we kind of sort of could tell who it was, or at least I could, when and I forget the Mexican actor's name, the guy who played Namor, when
Right.
him and her
Do
were
not
talking,
refer to. Yeah.
and when they were talking about their interactions with each other on
Yeah.
screen.
As a matter of fact, shout out to Eric Voss from New Rock Stars. I actually gave him that scoop. I sent that clip to him, and he hit me
Mm.
back on YouTube. I sent the clip to him that I said, hey, listen, unfortunately, Eric, I still want to talk to you. We never got a chance to talk because he had hit me back. It was like, yo, let's talk, because I sent him uh, that interview, because when Tournamentt Forte says, we have this scene together, and it was really one of my favorite memorable scenes from the movie. I was like, that's the fight scene. I was
Yep.
like, that's that scene that they showed at the end in the desert. I was like, that's her. But like I said, just looking at the burden she's been carrying, not only because she lost her big bro, as she calls him, but the fact that it's just a burden altogether to have to do this and put it together and come together. And she said, just like many of them have said in interviews, that they all credit Ryan Coogler, but Ryan Coogler is such a humble dude, and he pushes it all back to them. He said, we did it together. He's like, he said in the interview on Sway, where he says, yo, I come to work with people that love me. You know what I'm saying? He's like, these people, they love me as much as I love them. So I come to work. That's how I do it. That's how I push through it. I'm coming to work with people that love me, you know. So um you could tell that she had, after all of them, she had the biggest burden on her face.
And especially after the rewrite, because I'm pretty sure they all got had an idea of what the script was going to be earlier on, because the script was the script was actually finished before he died, right?
The original script was
Script
finished.
finished.
Was
So
finished before he died, and and he never got a chance to read. I don't know if he even got a chance to read that script, but he didn't get a chance. Definitely get a chance to read this one. He had to go back and double back and do some things, and
and well,
I'm
and the only reason why I mentioned that, it's two reasons. One, because of because of the original storyline from the books, where if it would have went by, and I don't know if this is where they were going. It's just an assumption of mine that they were going in the direction of Namor hurt T'Challa in a fight, and Shuri had to step up. So that's a different kind of burden to carry if someone is still alive to still perform their part. But then to turn around, and not only is this person not there for you to repass the mantle back to them, you have to carry it now going forward. This is you going forward.
Yeah.
I mean, and on a side note, Ralph, in the MCU, and again, they actually are recasting William Hurt's character for
Well, yeah, they're recasting his character. I mean, they've done it before. They've
yeah.
recasted characters, But it's just a matter of they
It happened.
decided, and I believe this was something that they've all decided to do this collectively. Kevin Feige, Ryan Coogler, they and Chadwick's family was in on it.
Mm-hmm.
This was a collective decision, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I honestly think, because he's already said this before in other interviews, he almost didn't do it. He wasn't even gonna do it. Doesn't mean that no one else, another filmmaker, wouldn't have stepped in and did it, but Ryan Coogler almost didn't do it.
Thank God.
You know, he almost didn't do it, but I believe this was the only way he really would agree to doing it, because he's like, I'm gonna honor my brother, in this, I'm gonna find a way to do it organically, what I mean, and do it where it just feels right and it feels real. The fact that they didn't make him, the character, die in some grand battle or some sort of thing that might have happened to him. Uh, they made it real, like they made it feel real, as we already know or thought, like the actors weren't even acting really. They were all kind of like working out their feelings and their everything to Chadwick. So
I think
it's
that the very beginning when they're having the funeral, that's not for the movie. That's real life. I think
yeah,
that I think that was their way
way, yeah,
of honoring him himself. The
yeah,
only way they knew better to do was I mean, because having having the funeral was great, but now you got to figure out how to do for the character. But if you really look at it, the emotions that they're giving in that movie during that funeral scene, that's not. I'm hurting when camera's off. I'm back to being all love and joy. That was real. That was a real funeral scene. Like that burden was
yeah,
coming into them as real person. And even in the movie, this speech that Angela Bassett makes when she says, "Have I not given enough?" She To me, she looked like she was saying that she was on the verge of tears. Like like
yeah. Oh yeah,
like
it was
like
it,
like
it
like
was
my like
real
my
stuff
real
going on.
that my real son
Yeah,
is gone. Now my daughter is something happened to her. Have I not given enough? But she was sounding
yeah.
like that was Mrs. Bozeman up there or talking, not not Angela Bassett,
Right.
or
It
or
was really, it was all real performances, and every one of the actors at some point have answered that question in a way. They didn't say like, oh no, we weren't acting. Of course they came there to act, but they all said, I've even Winston Duke has said, we've all picked each other up day after day. One day it might be my turn to pick someone up, or then it might be my turn to be down and someone else picks me up. And so getting through this film was, I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you thought they were bonded from the first film, they are bonded
they
now.
bonded now.
Yeah, they are
Life for
bonded
life.
now for
For
life.
life.
You're going to see these actors pop up in different Ryan Coogler films.
There's something wrong.
Wait a minute, somebody's microphone is conking out.
There's something wrong.
Yeah, Wes, your microphone is
Can
conking
you hear
out.
me? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
cutting out. You got to be shortening your mic.
I have a
Yeah.
shorten it.
Yeah, or it's not plugged. Oh, or it's not plugged all the way in.
Testing. Can you hear it?
Yeah,
Y'all good? You hear it?
yeah, I can hear it.
As long
Okay.
as your finger right there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So basically, Winston Duke talked about how they each took turns picking each other up. You know, it's one day it might be his turn to pick up Lapita. One day it might be Lapita's turn to pick him up because he's down, or they all collectively pick up Letitia, so they really help each other. So I was saying you're gonna see when Ryan Coogler really bonds with you, like most directors do, and you have a real. So like with directors, we have this thing where you have these actors that you work with maybe more than once, and you develop a bond and a friendship with them. So you always, they become reliable to you. You always want to work with them because it's like working on a playground. It's like working with your friends. So, I kind of developed that relationship with Rayon Lawrence. You know what I mean? Rayon Lawrence is I've been working with him since 2003 or something like that, or somewhere around that time. And we developed a good relationship and friendship and friendship. So I always want to cast him in films and projects that I do because I enjoy working with him. He's a friend, right? So you're gonna start seeing them popping up or in non superhero Ryan Coogler films. you know, you
Hopefully.
starts you'll see him, and you'll see people. He'll work with them again, definitely, because he's that type of guy. Look at his bond and friendship he formed with Michael B. Jordan.
Jordan, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He always finds a way to put Michael B. Jordan in a film he's working on.
They got
But
found
that's
found a way to bring him back in this one.
right. That's where he's that type of dude, though. Um,
And it's funny, it's funny with that. Oh, Ralph, you know what, Ralph? I wanted to say something about what you said earlier. Sorry, Wes. Um, with the funeral scene, that scene actually, right? What you said is actually factual about how they felt while doing the scene, but the way it was actually written in the script, Ryan Coogler wasn't even thinking about that when he wrote it. It wasn't until in a interview that I saw today that was right before this is the week maybe before the album drop that he had on Sway's universe. They had like a town hall, whatever you want to call it, and one of the Heather B had asked about the funeral scene, and Ryan was like, "What?" Because she had asked uh spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen the film yet. Um, but you had the Adora Milaje carry his body as pallbearers, and he was like, you could tell he was physically like caught off guard by that question because he was like, we just did that because that's their job. He didn't even think like that wasn't even a thought to him, and he passed it on to Denai, and Denai was like, "Yeah," and 100% confirming what you just said, Ralph. That it was a way of it was their way of sending him home. A way of
Yeah.
basically having a way of sending him home. On top of that, they also about 50 of them before they started shooting went with him went with his family to his gravesite where he was buried and paid tribute to him as well. So
You know what wouldn't surprise me? Wait a minute, I hear Wes talking, but you can't hear you, Wes.
hold it right there.
Yeah. No. Are you on? Did you mute your mic?
No, he has a short in his mic.
No, his mic is muted.
No, it's not muted. He has a short in his mic. That's why he keeps moving it and it keeps dropping in and out. It's not muted. He has a it's a short, and that's why he's holding his mic up.
Oh. Oh.
Nope, still
But
can't
what
hear you.
wouldn't surprise me
okay.
at all? I heard you for a hot second. But what wouldn't surprise me, and to find out
Nothing.
somewhere down the line, is that somewhere during that funeral scene, Chadwick Boseman's wife is in that scene. It would not surprise me if she is under some sort of garb or mask, but that she was there also. And they're not going to say that. That's going to be something that, as people watch it multiple times, someone say, "Wait a minute, is that Chadwick Boseman's wife?"
No, because but I mean, I wouldn't, uh, I wouldn't, put it past as something that, you know, something that could not have happened. But I honestly don't think she would have been physically capable of even being on set to even to it would surprise me if she was on set.
That's what I'm saying. It would really surprise me to find out that she was on set, and even if she wasn't in the scene, that she was actually present when they shot it. I think it's
Oh yeah,
one of the two. But
I wouldn't that I wouldn't put it past that at some point they invited her out to come on to
yeah,
maybe at the maybe whatever the last whatever the last shooting date was, or whatever the
yeah.
last scene was, maybe they invited her to come out to to the rap party or something like that.
Oh yeah, the rap part. But I'm talking about specifically in that scene. And I don't know the shooting schedule of how they did it, but it wouldn't surprise me. Really wouldn't surprise me if the funeral was shot last. If that whole procession was shot last, they gave them time to figure out how to send him off properly, where it, because I mean, because we're always looking at the cast, how the cast is feeling, but you also got that huge crew that got to know Jazik also, and
Well,
I'm
yeah,
sure that
that's why I said there was 50 of them, cast and crew, that his family invited them because a lot of them couldn't come to the funeral, so the
yeah,
family invited them out to his. I don't know where his final resting place was, but the family invited the main cast and a lot of the crew members that were close to him. I guess it must have been people from the first film, more than likely. They invited them all out to come to his final resting place to
yeah.
do a final, to say a final goodbye, because a lot of them weren't able to come to the funeral.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we could definitely hear you
Yes.
now.
Okay. Um. Yeah. No. It was definitely. It's. I mean, just think about it. Man. It's just something that's crazy, dude. That they had to go through. I mean, just pulling this film off was amazing in my opinion. Pulling it off in the fashion that they did, with the performance that they did, they were able to put their I feel like it's a way different thing, but it's like growing up as a I grew up as a musician, right? And one thing has always been tough as a musician, especially in the church, right? Is playing for someone's funeral, right? Uh, Playing, whether you're playing whether you're playing organ, playing drums. I was a drummer. I also played organ. But one of the things I used to always look at my mother, rest in peace. My mother, was an organist and pianist and all that, and she would play and sing at funerals, right? For like some of her closest friends, right? And I used to always say to her, like, how can you do that, man? Because I'd be playing the drums or whatever, but I'd have to like literally have to get up and leave. Like after the choir had sang and my job was done, I would leave. Like I would get up and leave. Um, my mother would be able to, sing, uh, play, and you got people, some of you got one of your closest friends laying in that casket, and all of him or her family members crying, and it's just a whole sad thing, right? It's different, but it's the same. You know what I'm saying? Being able to, you still got a job to do. You know what I mean? Like, and you
Right.
have you owe it to them to do it to the best of your ability. So even though my mother sang at her mother's funeral, You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa. I was like, how can you do that? I was like a ball of tears. I'm like, I couldn't even. They tried to ask, if the family wanted to say something. I couldn't even stand up there and say nothing. You know what I mean? And I've never had a problem speaking in front of a crowd, but I just couldn't say nothing. I was speechless when my grandmother passed. So my mother sang at her funeral, and I'm like, how do you do that? But once again, it's all out of love. Even though you are heartbroken inside, you still have a job to do, and you want to do it to the best of your ability for them. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I'm bringing tying this all back together to how they were even able to get through this film and
Yeah.
get through it to the end, because a lot of them, I'm telling you right now, a lot of them would not have complained if if Ryan Coogler came in and said, you know what, I can't do this. I can't do this. We're gonna have to shut down production. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that's how you felt because your heart was so heavy. But at the same time, they know that Chadwick would have loved or does love what they produced, what they came with it. They were able to push the story forward. They were able to uh, dig into some arcs from characters that we already know. They were able to expand those arcs. They was able to set up new characters and push the story of the broader scope MCU story in going forward. Um, that's a big task, man. And Ryan Coogler, they brought that up on that interview at Sway. Ryan Coogler is a humble dude, so he's like, yeah, and he's right. It isn't you any director. You're not doing it by yourself. You have a team. We get the accolades, and it's just like I mean, me on the lower scale. Everyone tells me, "Oh man, you did, it looks great, bro." That people say to me that playing dirty looks great. And I'm like, bruh, Ryan Coogler, I'm gonna quote what he said. Yo, I walk on the set and just talk to people. That's what he said. He was like, I'll touch nothing. And that's me. I mean, I used to be more hands-on with it, but once I developed my team that I trust and love, my boy, shout out to my man Devin Troublesome. You know what I'm saying? Once I develop my team that I trust and they know me and I know them, I ain't got to touch nothing, dude. As a matter of fact, if I try to touch something, they be like, yo, man, just sit down, watch the monitor. Don't worry about it, bro. We got it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's how it is. And he was like, yo, but what he isn't, what he's being, in my opinion, too humble about, and the other cast members kind of took it from there and pointed out, yes, he comes on set and he talks to people. That is a skill. That is a skill for a director. But not only that, he is the leader. He is the crew chief. He is the crew chief, right? He has all of those thousands of people, you know, eventually he has some sort of connection with. Maybe not all at once. That's why you need your assistant directors, your second assistant directors, your line producers, your this. You need all of them because that's just so you can delegate the authority properly. But you're the crew chief on that set. You know what I mean? So it's your vision that all of these people are working together to bring to life. But I love how he put it. He steps on, and everybody he talks to are experts at what they do. So, from the wardrobe people, as we know, Ruth E. Carter, she gonna get another Oscar for her wardrobe design. And probably the set designer is probably gonna get it too. They're gonna probably get one too. They're definitely getting nominations again. And we'll talk about that in a minute after we wrap up our little comments on it. But um, Ryan Coogler, I said all that to say Ryan Coogler is a genius. He is a genius at his craft, you know, meaning that he really puts so much thought into his work beforehand. His preparation is insane. His preparation for both movies. When he did Black Panther, he went to the motherland. He had to soak up the energy and in the air and every the essence and the ambiance and everything around it, the aura, right? That was the first thing he did, among some bunch of other things. But like he said, he even said in the other interview, he visits all of these different, he's not just going to jump into it. That's the way you're supposed to do it. You know what I mean? When Lin Manuel Miranda wrote the music for Encanto, he's not what was that from? What was that supposed to be from? Colombian or something like that? Colombia or whatever. But they went there. And he's not Colombian. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
But they went there and experienced the music of that culture and was able to be in that essence when he wrote the songs in that culture, right? So Ryan Coogler puts that as part of his preparation. And he's such a very big thinker and deep. Let me rewind that. Not just a big thinker, he's a deep thinker in how he's going to present this, because he answers a question. He's always presents himself with a question. How can I do this when this, you know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy. He's obviously a humble dude, but he's very, 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 very a genius, if you will, in his craft. And I'm good. I'm giving him that. I know people throw that word around a lot, but I really feel, after seeing a lot of his work and some of his commentary and his thought process, I'm like, yo, this dude this dude is really on another level of thinking when he makes films. So I mean, he's just amazing, bro. So he's that leader that has to lead them and help. He was the rock that really everyone kind of held on to. Everyone kind of held on to him, and he made sense for them. He made sense. They're like, yo, how am I supposed to do this? How we doing this? How we doing? He made it make sense. So I give him all the credit for doing this, being able to pull it off and doing it in the fashion that he did. And yeah, Kev brought up I brought up the crybabies. Kev brought them up. Yeah, he even answered their question. You know what I'm saying? With now the recast T'Challa crybabies. Well, I don't know if y'all gonna go see the movie, but maybe you should. So you can maybe walk out of there feeling like,
stupid.
Okay. Right, feeling stupid. Exactly. Now all of this, trust me, bro. I had arguments with people talking about Chadwick Boseman's family even said, like I'm like, oh, Chadwick Boseman's family, right? That's what it is. So that they said, yeah, he would want this to go on. He would want the character recast. Like I said, maybe you should go see the movie, and then you'll realize why we're calling you stupid, or you may feel stupid behind it, and you whining and crying for no reason. Ryan Coogler got this. How many times I had to say this before the movie even came out? This dude has got this. He knows what he's doing. And Kevin Feige. No, I told people, if it doesn't come from Kevin Feige's mouth, it's not true. You know what I'm saying? Dude, I mean, people were really literally printing that. Everyone was printing that Kevin Feige said that they're never recasting T'Challa. Like, I'm sitting there like, yo, why are y'all lying? He's never said that. Ever. It's like, oh no. Then they just tried to make it a whole, you know what happens. You know how black people do. Yeah, oh man, they're just trying to keep a black man down, and they don't want to tell our stories, and blah blah blah. They just want to, they recast Superman, they recast Batman, all this whole crybaby garbage. And I'm like, yo, shut up, please.
You can shut up. They can shut up, and all of you people who are who kept, or who I should say keep, and now they're even trying to go harder on this Namor thing. Let it go. We know that from the comic books that Namor's name means Ronin. It's the reverse for Ronin. We know that Namor is originally from Atlantis. The things that some of you idiots even forgetting is that DC had to jump on Atlantis.
Mhm.
So therefore, the first thing Marvel's not going to do is want their character to be confused with DC's
With
Aquaman.
DC.
I still don't understand how you would do that, but it makes sense.
Well,
Okay.
it is because of the non comic book, non even not even just comic book, because Aquaman is very known as in the cartoons and stuff too. So people who don't pay attention to that, think about this. This was DC's only time where they got to jump on Marvel. Basically, they made an Aquaman who looks more like Namor than Aquaman. You know what I'm saying? Right? And I know Marvel was like, they were probably like, these sons of bitches, they did that on
I
purpose.
mean, he looks just like Jay Lee's. Anybody who, I'll put it like this: if you want to know what Wes is talking about, go up back and look up Jay Lee's Namor. Any of his Namor covers
The
or
artist
any
Jay
artwork
Lee.
that
Yep.
Jay Lee has done for Marvel Comics. When they cast Jason Momoa for that, I was like, oh my god, Marvel's gonna be mad.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, yo, Marvel actually, if they would have went with the Jay Lee version of Aquaman, of Namor, they could have cast Jason Momoa
Because he would have looked
as him if they would.
like that.
So, and on top, think about this. Even if that's not even as deep as that, the way he portrayed Aquaman, Aquaman doesn't really not, he doesn't have like, he does not shirtless. He always had a shirt. He always had a thing on. You know what I'm saying? Namor's always been the one that was shirtless.
And Aquaman was always friendly. He was never
Right.
arrogant.
You know what I mean? So, right. So they had him, they really did kind of make him more like Namor than Aquaman. And at least look, especially in the looks. So they had that was once again, I give credit to Ryan Coogler again. That's another burden he had to take on. Because remember, he wanted to introduce Namor all the way back from the first Black Panther. And on top of that, he literally went, he put out, he probably went through Kevin Feige, but he basically put every MCU director on notice that nobody touched Namor, which is probably why he wasn't in Doctor Strange, because he wanted to be the one to handle Namor because he had these new plans for him. But he put all the other directors in the MCU on notice. Please do not use Namor before I do, because I believe that if Chadwick Boseman wouldn't have never died, and because they were already kind of going in this direction anyway, this storyline. If Chadwick Boseman wouldn't have died, they just would have played out the storyline from the comic where he ends up in a coma and stuff like that. T'Challa, that is, and Shuri still takes the mantle, right? But I believe that Namor, let's say in a world that Chadwick Boseman did not pass away, I think we would have saw Namor in the Multiverse of Madness. He would have been in the Illuminati, because that's where he is from the comics. They were really only missing him and Iron Man from the original, from the Illuminati. So, oh yeah, the Black Bolt was there. Yeah, so they was missing him and Iron Man, because you had Professor X, you had Black Bolt, and you had Reed Richards. All you needed was Namor and Iron Man. So, yeah, Namor and Stark. But anyway, I believe that's what would have happened. Now, if we ever see the Illuminati again, which I would not doubt that if we did, we probably will. Now that they've got Fox the rights and stuff like that, down the line we probably will see the Illuminati again, and I'm sure Namor will be on it at that point. So, um, it's a great thing, man. It's a great thing. So, what I want to say also behind that is, now after we've seen it, do you think it's going to gain more nominations, the same amount of nominations, um, as far as uh Academy Awards? Let's go with Academy Awards. What do you think? What's your thoughts on that?
I think they're going to they're going to be more nominations. There are going to be two more actually.
Mhm.
In supporting actress, and that's going to be for Angela Bassett.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Um, I believe Ganai is going to get Denai is going to get one as well.
I think I don't know if she will, but I definitely think I definitely Angela Bassett for Queen Ramonda is going to get
And
nominated.
also, I think Homeboy as Namor
Mhm.
might get one too.
Um, then you think I think the new categories would be, yes, I think supporting actor or supporting actress. Um, but the other ones, I don't know if they're really new. I'm trying to think what. Um,
So the other
I
one's
think
going
they might. I think I could see the way it played out and the way everyone loves the story. I could see adapted screenplay. I could see adapted screenplay nomination. I don't know if they would consider that original screenplay because it's still adapted from a comic character, and he took adapt. He's it's still kind of like an adaptation because he took little bits and pieces from different stories from the comics and weaved them all together
it's still
beautifully.
fiction because it's still from a book, regardless.
Yeah, it's still
It's
from a book, so it's an adaptation. So it would be adapted screenplay. I could see that. That would be a surprise to people, but I could see it because of the story and the way the way he weaved it together so beautifully. He was able to incorporate real life history with comics. He did the same thing with Black Panther, but I mean, he was able to do it again with rewriting, or not rewriting, but reshaping Namor's origin. And he's impressive if you didn't hear a lot of complaints from the fanboys. Even the fanboys was okay with it. It's like, oh my god, they nitpick everything. Even some of the hardcore comic fans that I know was like, yeah, it's cool. It was like, yeah. Like, what do you think about the changing up Namor's origin? Nice, it makes sense because they know the impact of what they have to do when it comes to Aquaman. With like even his trident. Remember, he didn't even have a trident. He had a staff.
Mm-hmm.
It was a spear. It was more like a spear. But in the comics, he has a trident. But they're not going to give him a trident because Aquaman had a trident. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, nah, we're not going to do a trident. We'll do like a spear staff type of deal. So I don't know. Ralph, are you still there?
I'm here.
Oh yeah.
Um,
So what do you think about
I certainly see
nominations?
the same. I I certainly see the three for set design, costumes, the three that they originally had. Probably a fourth one for Rihanna for her song.
Mm.
Best supporting actors and actresses. The guy that played Namor, no. Angela Bassett. It to me right for me right now, looking at the rest of the year, it's just a maybe. It's a maybe. Um, I guess that really depends on the rest of the film year, how they're portrayed. I mean, in a perfect world, yes, but it's for me, it's just a maybe.
Mhm.
Supporting actor, no, no, y'all can forget that one. That
Mhm.
if you think he's a supporting actor, that's the long shot. That's a long shot.
Mhm.
The
So
adapted the adapted
what other
screenplay.
new, yeah, what's it, what other new cat, do you see any new categories, or you already addressed supporting actress? That would be
That's
a new
the only
category,
other
but do you
the only like I said, the only two I see new would be best original song from Rihanna and maybe a best supporting actress. Everything else, no. I don't see it coming with sound design. Okay,
set design for sure,
set
wardrobe for
design,
sure,
wardrobe, yes, those
costume design, which is
co-
wardrobe,
yes,
costume design, yeah,
yes,
costume design, set design, um production design, which kind of falls in the same thing,
yeah.
but
Sound design, yeah. But I think
maybe sound design,
the two new
maybe
ones,
sound design,
I think the two new ones be for best original song, and I mean the score maybe
possibly.
Ludwig, if I'm saying her name correctly, that's a possible. That's a possible more than a maybe. That's a possible. Angela Bassett, as far as the acting part, that's the one I'm like that is just a maybe, and that's really looking at the rest of the film year, what's coming down the pipe.
Well, it all
Um,
depends on who her potential. Right, it's going to depend on who the potential people that she'll
Runner,
be up
yeah,
against.
exactly. But I think she, if I was to say money, I think she's got at least a good. I'm not gonna say 50. I'm gonna say 55% chance of a yes. Right now, I would say yes.
I'm gonna go higher than that based on what you said actually in previous show. The fact that the Academy owes her one anyway. So even if she doesn't win it, I believe she will get nominated.
Now, but
um,
see
you
that
know,
that part right there. I don't think that she would get nominated unless people felt that she was going to win, right? And that's when you play in. We kind of owe her for what's love got to do about it because I mean,
mhm,
so first she got to get it. If she gets the nomination, then my percentage jumps up because now I do feel like you do play that we kind of owe her for the last time she was
Tina Turner.
nominated. Yeah, for Tina
Mhm,
Turner, we owe her. Then it jumps
mhm,
up to like 80-85% that she's gonna walk out with. But first I got a chance of getting it, and now it's about 55%. And I'm only saying it at that price because we still haven't seen what else is coming down the pipe. You got a movie coming out Friday that really is, I would think, as far as the female side, you're gonna get a couple of supporting actors, which is Who's Me. That's coming on Friday. That's about the
mhm,
case against Harvey Weinstein. There's going to be one or two
mhm,
people coming out of that one with the best supporting actress nomination,
mhm.
right? But like I said, until the rest of this year materializes, right now for me, she's at 55%. If she gets the nomination, it's jumping up to about 80-85% that she's going to win.
85% that she could win it, right?
Because
And
well,
I also think
yeah,
somewhere,
yeah.
I also think she's gonna pick something up s- in one of the other major three, the major three, whether it's Golden Globe or SAG,
I think
which
SAG.
might force the hand of the Academy as well, um, as far as nominating. So definitely SAG, I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
Her definitely getting nominated
And
because
not
her
not for
peers.
nothing, I would even say when it comes to SAG or People Choice, then you got to put Letitia Wright into that one because I mean I think for a SAG, maybe
Mm-hmm.
no, let me rephrase that. For her, I think the People's Choice would be where she gets that nomination for that one. The SAG
Maybe.
is going to recognize
Or
the cast as an ensemble. As an
yeah,
ensemble, they'll get that one.
they'll recognize the cast as an ensemble. What about
But
uh
Letitia Wright,
what about the Golden Globes, being that's the foreign press and she is
go
from London.
same
She's a
thing with
London
Golden Globes.
actress.
I think she has a stronger
A
chance
better
for Golden
chance.
Globes Golden Globes
Yeah.
and People's Choice Awards, I think she's got a better chance. She's going to get
Mhm.
nominated as an ensemble cast for the SAG Awards. But when it
SAG
comes to the
Awards.
Academy Awards, that's going to be a little harder for her to pull that one off. If she pulls it
Yeah.
off, would I be disappointed? No. Would I be shocked? Yeah. It would
Mhm.
shock me. And
Mhm.
if we're going to go that path, I think now you really start seeing, although the Academy comic book movies much more seriously than the years ago. After
But
Ledger,
they still, yeah,
after,
but they're
but
still full of a lot of the old, bitter, not even just bitter, but just the old, stuck in their
but
ways
but I
people
think but I think when
that
they look
don't want to recognize.
but I think when they look at the comic book movies, I
Mhm.
think the older people are looking at who's portraying it. Because I'm sorry, and I'm gonna say this in that die. I really think Robert Downey Jr. got robbed of a nomination for Endgame. I really truly say he was
Hmm.
robbed because he did not saying he deserved to win. He deserved to be nominated. There was no
Right.
doubt about that one. And you have other people.
He really did his thing
He
in
really
that game.
he really deserved it. When you look
Yeah.
at the arcs that they want characters to portray on camera, you see you
Hmm.
see you see their rise, their fall, their redemption. Hell, is that not Iron Man? Is that not Tony Stark? And he paid the ultimate price, which is your death, which they love when you die on camera. That's like, oh damn,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I think. Like I said, I think first you got to get her the nomination, and once if she gets it, it jumps up a lot. It jumps from my book
Yeah.
85%.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it's fair enough. But yeah, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. We know that the other ones come first. And we'll see where it goes from there. Who gets nominated, if anyone at all. I thought there was something else that I was thinking about, another category, but I'm just trying to think. Uh,
Now
hmm.
I will say this, and this is just me. This is not a guarantee. This is just a thought. I think when it comes to the Almighty, the Best Picture nomination, since it's up to 10, right?
Oh yeah.
There's a couple of factors. I think the first factor is how much will the Academy recognize stuff that went to streaming services. If they pull back on that one, then I think Black Panther does have a 50-50 shot of getting the best picture nomination because of the emotional baggage that comes with it.
Hmm. Yeah.
If it somehow catches Top Gun at over 700 million domestic, I think
Hmm.
I think if it catches it very quickly before Avatar comes out, I think it got a better shot of picking up a best picture nomination. If it
Hmm.
catches, if one of those two things happen, it's still, and if they keep, because go to 10, it doesn't have to be 10, it could be 5, it could be 7, whatever. I think you got to take those factors in consideration. How much does the voting people, not, and for this one, not the fans, the people that vote for the Oscars, how much did they like it and did they see it? Because realistically speaking, they already have it. They've already got their screeners for the movie. They could watch
Hmm.
it anytime they feel like it at home, you know.
Yeah.
So you got to take. I just think it's a long shot for like real serious.
Yeah,
Not
no.
well,
I mean, listen, we are talking the Academy Awards, and
yeah,
they still haven't gotten to that part where they really take, like you just said, where they take the comic book films serious enough to want to, whatever. And then you still got the old guard that's still there, that's
yeah.
like, it's a comic book film. Look at all of the classic great directors that refuse to even look at comic. They look at comic book films. This isn't real storytelling. This isn't
And
real acting.
I'm gonna say that part too. When someone sit there and say they don't watch it, that's bull. That's bull.
Hmm.
You have watched it. You could, but see what I think with that is that they would rather sit there and say I didn't watch it to sit and say I didn't like it.
Right.
Right. And I say that because of, it's funny, it's on my television right now. Star Trek is on. William Shatner for years kept saying he never watched The Next Generation when it came on. He never watched it, but yet he appeared in one of their movies. At some point, you did sit back and you watched the show, and maybe they did a better job than what you did because of the technology, the time period. But you're not just going to sign onto a project and sit there and say, or I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry. You're not going to be an actor or director or actress in a particular field and not watch what comes out of your field, whether it's a comic movie, horror. Now, horror movies, the only thing I might see saying I didn't see is a documentary, because documentaries don't really impact on you as an actor or actress. But as a director, yeah, you might want to look at a documentary from time to time. But you can't sit there and tell me Hollywood, the actor that sit there and, like, I'm sorry, Martin Scorsese, yeah, you have watched a comic book movie. You must have, because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't your ass attached to Joker? So that means you had to watch Batman to get even from a production standpoint. How many actors have we ever seen do you said I had to learn about the character, had to go back and learn about the character? So for a comic movie, if you're coming into a movie and you're signed on as a producer, the two quickest ways for you to learn about the character is either A, read the comic books, or B, watch the films. There's just no other way to do that. You're not just going to
There's no other way. Exactly. There's no other way.
You're not just going to just wing it and say, "Oh well, he's a guy that has a costume and he goes around, he beats people up." Well, hell, that could be anybody.
Could be anybody.
That could be anybody.
That's a huge.
That sounds like Death Wish. I mean, hell. I mean, really?
Death Wish.
You know what I'm saying?
Here's the other thing. I mean, Hollywood can say what they want as far as, everybody talking junk about comic book movies. Number one, comic book movies have been being done for at least the last 20 years.
Longer than that.
50.
50, yeah.
50.
I mean, and I'm talking about outside of the norm of Batman and Superman, and I'm talking about since Blade coming forward from 1990 forward.
Okay.
Constantine. I mean, all of these movies. But my main point is that Hollywood is starting to understand the landscape and what it's evolving into. And actors are becoming more involved. Like, hey, I want to be in a comic book movie. Hey, put one. Just not for 10 years, but I'll do one.
Right.
Shit, I heard Pacino said he want to get into a comic book movies. Believe me, someone out there.
He technically has been in one. Dick Tracy.
He was in Dick Tracy. So somebody out there is figuring out, yo, we got Al Pacino in our movie. Could you see him? Hell, I'm just sitting here thinking about this right this second. Could you see him in a Batman movie playing, what's the name? Carl Grit. Who's the bad guy in Batman? The mob boss.
Yeah. There's two of them. There's Falcone.
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 Could you not see him playing Falcone?
Why not?
And really, if he came into Batman playing Falcone, but playing him like he played Michael in The Godfather, come on. with like a little edge of Tony Montana in there too. Come on.
I mean, he could play
the other thing about it too is that actors, the other side to it too, is actors are also affecting the landscape of comic book films. Whereas, comic book films now are not, unless you're making the choice to do a 5-year project or, to have yourself locked into a thing. They've even changed the way that Marvel per se has done their contracts now. They're hiring these actors for shorter film terms.
Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is this: from you can still add Blade in there because Blade had obviously a serious tone to it as well. It was, Blade. I mean, there's so many people that I know. I swear to you, that have no idea that Blade was a comic character.
Mm-hmm.
They just saw the movie and was like, oh, that's cool. He's a vampire hunter. You know what I'm saying?
That
So,
just sounds like a comic book character just from that description. He's a
right.
guy who's a half vampire, half human that hunting down vampires.
Right.
Damn.
But a lot of people just figured, he's a vampire hunter. But you know, so like I always say to people all the time, when the Russo brothers joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they stepped up and challenged the actors to step it up when it comes to tone, delivery, and just straight acting in story um in a comic book film. And that started with the Winter Soldier, in my opinion, with Captain America the Winter Soldier. Because
I
you know
disagree.
when-
I disagree.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because number one, um Captain America, I mean, if you just gotta watch it, you go back and watch it. That it just felt different from all the other films prior to it. It felt different. It had even the first Captain America movie, it felt different from that. Um, and it just brought this real. I mean, they all have the three act structure. All the time. It's hard to explain, but it's easy to explain. If you watch it, you'll understand. It brought this different type of tone. Like these actors were really bringing it in this film, and it made you believe, like, damn, these cats, they really delivering some real performances and stuff like that in it. And some people might say that about Iron Man, but you know, to me, Iron Man still felt like a comic book film. Captain America Winter Soldier didn't really feel like a comic book film. It felt like an action movie. You know what I'm saying? It didn't feel like a comic book film. Even though you got Captain America in it, but it didn't feel like your typical comic book film. It felt like an action film, and that's like a real movie.
I gotta disagree. I'm always gonna say I think it's Nolan. I think Nolan was the guy that really said, "Look, we can do a comic movie, but we got to give it real world, make it feel like a real." I mean,
I know. I'm talking more on Marvel side. Yeah, if you were talking about all together, yes, he gave it real world feel. But where Nolan, in my opinion, where Nolan lacked, in my opinion, was I think he went a little bit too realistic with it, in my opinion. Because it didn't feel like a comic book. That's why it felt like what it felt like, right? That's why. But he definitely, for overall comic films, he gets the credit for that. I guess I was merely thinking about the MCU.
But
Think about it.
also to piggyback on what Wes is saying,
Mhm.
Nolan didn't give you the chance to suspend disbelief.
Mhm.
He forced you into, like, this is real. This is the reality we're sticking to.
Mhm. Because he thinks it's a little silly, if you will. Which is why he never addressed. I mean, obviously they addressed Batman and whatever, but that's why he never called
and he makes
Catwoman. He never called her Catwoman. She was never referred to as Catwoman because he thought that was silly or whatever.
But yet you make exception. Yet you make the other movie that you made. Both good movies. Don't get me wrong.
Great movies, yeah.
But you expect people to suspend disbelief for those.
Right.
But Catwoman is silly. Stop
it. Right. I mean, the fact that you can still in like I said, Nolan did great, but I think Nolan, for me, he didn't have the right balance because he went not so far, but he went too far from the comics, in my opinion. And I think he could have leaned back and had the balance. Because I mean, look, he was consultant on Man of Steel, and look how good that was as well. You know what I'm saying? It had that realistic ground to it, but obviously you're dealing with a whole different type of character. You're dealing with a super powered character. So now you have no choice but to suspend reality a little bit because it's Superman. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, Nolan did
Yeah,
his thing.
it just ain't no
Nolan did
way
his
around that
thing.
one.
Right. There's no way around it. That's why I love that he consulted on that and helped, bring some of that realism to it that a lot of people ended up hating. A lot of the, if you want to call them purists, whatever you want to call it, the old school cats. Um, you know, but I love, I love what Nolan did. It's just that some of the stuff I just felt it wasn't necessary to go that far away from the comics, and so particularly with just the one nitpick that I always had with Nolan's Batmans, all of them, all three of them, was the fighting. I thought the fighting was kind of whack. I mean, like it was decent, but Batman is just so ill. I just didn't think the fighting in the Batman movies. Maybe the first one was decent, because they had
On the
Ra's al
train,
Ghul.
on the train,
Yeah,
that
like
that that was tough. That
right,
one
they
was
had
tough.
Ra's al Ghul. Yeah, the first one had the best fight sequences. The second one, not so much, and the third one I thought was kind of garbage too. I didn't mind him changing up Bane the way he did. I didn't mind that because he rep. That's why I was when I heard Bane was going to be a character in the Dark Knight Rises. I'm like, he chose Bane. That's one of the most unrealistic. That's one of the most super comic book type characters of Batman, of one of his villains, because most of
Yeah.
he's a super powered. So I was interested on how he was going to do Bane. Wasn't disappointed on how he did Bane. He just made Bane, a regular guy, whatever. Um, but like I said, the fight sequences in there, particularly the one that he had when he's fighting alongside Catwoman, that was no bueno. Sorry, I was like, this isn't Batman. You know what I mean? And like I said, because that it was more so the newer one that they did with that Reeves did was a better
Much better.
much better interpretation of him and Catwoman fighting alongside each other and stuff like that. Um and like I said, I always go back to Snyder. Snyder's fight scene is unmatched. Snyder's fight scene from Batman vs Superman. That is the more Batman you're ever gonna see. That's the most Batman-esque fight that you'll
Yeah.
ever see on camera until maybe he does another one, or until Ben Affleck decides to come back and do a Batman film. So, but that's my only critique on Nolan's portrayal. And like I said, not per se Nolan, it may not even be Nolan's fault on this. And like I said, I always portrayed, I thought I thought Bale was great. I had my issues with him. The voice was that bothered me. The voice thing he was doing, that just bothered me. And with the voice of Batman or whatever. And he was okay. He was okay, Bruce Wayne. He fit the role and stuff like that. He was a little, he was pretty good as Bruce Wayne. Way better than Pattinson's Bruce Wayne was terrible. But anyway, not to get off track, but that's what I said about when I mentioned the Winter Soldier. Say if you watch, and I just recently, like within the last few months, I watched the MCU in order again because I was just like, I feel like doing it. I went back and watched it in timeline order, in story order, timeline order, starting with Captain America, the first Avenger, and then Captain Marvel, and so on and so on. And when you get to Captain America, the Winter Soldier,
That's a Bond movie. That's a Bond movie.
that's what I'm saying. It just like changes. I was like,
That was a Bond movie with the really good sidekick. That's what that was. And you was like,
really was.
wow, yeah.
Yeah. You're like, wow, this is.
I'm not. I can't. Yeah,
That's a good way. That's a good way of putting it too. It was like a Bond flick. You're like an action movie. You're like, yo. I remember that. Kev, did we see that together?
No, we didn't see that
We
together.
see that one together. I think I saw it with Bruce. I think we walked out of it. We was like, yo, this was not like your typical superhero movie, like in the MCU. We're like, this is an action flick.
Yeah. That's why I honestly believe that's why Ryan Coogler went with the direction that he went, is because Russo brothers set that tone. So he had a reference of what to rock with. Okay, they did this here. I need to keep the same tone because nobody else is doing that. Nobody else kept the same tone. And
no one else followed them and you even saw the difference when the Russo brothers worked with all of the characters that the other directors worked with. You know what I'm saying? That's why you think about it. Infinity War is grand as it was, and Endgame, but Endgame had more heart to it. You know what I'm saying? The Russos doing it. All those other characters worked with other directors, and the perfect example is Captain Marvel's character. The way she was, the way she was portrayed in the movie with those directors that just really didn't do her justice.
They just
and you saw the difference when she worked with the Russos. You know what I'm saying? So it's
even with, and like even Ryan Coogler said, he said his frame of reference pretty much was the Russo brothers because that's where Chadwick got his introduction into the MCU.
Yeah, with Civil War. He got his introduction with the Russos in Captain America Civil War. So
and Civil War pretty much kept that opening scene pretty much the same tone.
It did. All of the Russos films, the most grand film that they did was Infinity War, that had a lot of cosmic stuff going on and very grand and things like that. But it still kept that. It kept it their style, but it was the most, say, grand or whatever you want to call it. It's more comic booky of all of them. You know what I'm saying? Because it just had to be, because of what they did. But I mean, Civil War, same deal. I mean, you had that whole sequence with how Black Panther was introduced and his father dying and the UN blowing up and all that other stuff. And I mean, it was like, yo, and just how they got with that story, that arc with Tony and his parents getting killed by Bucky. Like, whoa, like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
It's like, oh shoot. And then
That's
it's like,
homeboy. Wow. Your homeboy killed your partner's parents, and you knew about it.
Yeah. Oh man. And it was like, yo, that was a real
feelings. Tony and his feelings was like I was your friend first. Like, no.
Yeah. Bucky was, but he's like, yo, bruh. And then he's like, yo, But the greatest line from that, or the most memorable line from that is, or one of the most memorable, is when he said, "Yo, he didn't know what he was doing. He wasn't in his right mind." That dude said, "Yo, I know, but I don't care. He killed my mother."
Yeah.
He said, "Yo, he killed my mother." Like, like this dude got to go. He was like, "Yo, I don't care if he wasn't in his right mind. He killed my mother.
Yeah.
Yo, he gotta die. He got to go."
And again, look at what the Russo brothers did.
Mhm.
Kala. They set the precedent. Look at
Of
what
his nobleness, which even
oh,
is an effect on this film when you
film.
think about it, because that's another thing. Another guy arguing, he said, "I don't like the way the third act ended. I don't like the way the resolution was. I thought they went too easy on Namor. You know, he killed her mother. She went too easy on him." I said, "Well, how much did she do any different than her brother not killing Zemo? Baron Zemo killed his father."
Mm-hmm.
But he said, "Yo, this is this. You know, we all
We gotta
had
stop.
too
We
much
all got. We
hate.
got.
Yeah, there's
Yep.
too
We gotta
much hate
stop.
going on, too much death and hate going on. It's got to stop somewhere. You still gonna pay for your crime, but I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to let it consume me anymore.
I'm not going to give you the easy way out. No.
Yeah, I'm not going to let this hate consume me, especially after he noticed vengeance and hate has consumed you, and you've ruined a lot of people's lives because of it, including mine."
They're in there killing each other because
Right. hmm They're in there killing each other. You ruined a lot of their lives, friendships, everything else, and which is what you set out to do, but it was rooted in vengeance. And he said, "I can't let it consume me no longer. I won't let it consume me no longer." That's why he didn't kill him. He was gonna kill him, or he had every intention of killing him up to that point. So that comes full circle with Shuri's arc in this movie.
which
You know.
I'm sorry. I got to blow it up. I'm sorry because it's
Mm-hmm.
look, she had to do what she did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hate this. I, I'm breaking up. You know what? I don't care. I said last week, you better watch it this weekend. Um, God damn it, we got listeners. Ugh.
Well,
She had to do what she had to do because if not, what Namor said was very factual. Uh, uh, and I could say this part because this part is not giving anything away. Wakanda, as strong as they are, as plentiful are as they are as a people, they are
mm-hmm.
a small nation inside of Africa. They are one country inside of Africa. So, if, for example, it's like saying Nigeria is Wakanda, and Nigeria decides to piss off the United States. Nigeria, as much as they are, and let's just say, no, you know what? I'm gonna go a step further. We'll call it South America. Nigeria pisses off South America, and South America and Nigeria. God damn it! I can't do this without giving away the movie. Never mind. Forget what I was saying.
So the bottom line is, like I said, it comes full circle on her decisions to kill, not kill, spare someone's life, whatever the case may be, even when faced with the uh the vengeance that she wanted, the vengeance that she felt, you know, she was feeding into it, and throughout the movie, especially after certain things happened. So I thought it was perfect. I thought the ending was great. I thought the at least the resolution. It wasn't the ending, but it was the resolution. of the film. I thought it was great. So big up to Ryan Coogler, man. He did what he did. He did his thing, and I thought it was a good job. At the end of the day, I thought it was a great job. I applaud him. I applaud everyone on that cast. And the bottom line is, I still feel the Academy Awards need to just go ahead and give comic book film a category, so you don't have to worry about none of this stuff no more. There's enough of them out there for them to have their own category now. There's enough of them being made for them to have their own category. Why not be the first uh major award show to do it? I think that would be dope. There's a lot of comic book films that uh people don't even know were comic book films. There's a lot of films that still exist that people don't even know that they're comic book films. And like I said, it's enough of them out there and enough being made, to consider having a best comic book film movie category. But first you got to put stunts. But I'm just saying, I think that those are things that should be added. I think those two categories should be added to not no damn People's Choice or whatever they did. Whatever was best. Didn't they do like best film, or what did they do that was like that popular character? Then they took it out. They did it 1 year and then
Oh
they
yeah,
took it out.
yeah. That trash they tried to pull off 1 year, and was like, no.
No, it's just I forgot what it was. But they did it 1 year and it was like, get that crap out of here.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. Most popular. It was kind of sort of like a People's Choice thing. That's what.
Kinda. Yeah.
And,
Because
and,
people like kind of voted on it and stuff like
and
that.
people were like kind of like, no, that doesn't, because they tried to do that. Why did they try to do that?
I think they did it because didn't they do it a year where the ratings were kind of low the year before? I
Yeah,
think they were trying to get their ratings back and stuff like that, and they kind of added that category.
it was the year before Wakanda Forever, right? Or was it after that?
Before Wakanda, you mean Black Panther?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, before Black Panther.
I think it was after Black Panther because that was a year. Didn't Infinity War get
Oh,
nominated or they were talking about nominated or
yeah,
something?
yeah. It was something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
know.
people weren't feeling that. I'm like, if you're gonna do that, why not just give them a category? Like I said, along with you adding stunts, those should be two new categories added to the Academy Awards. Should be because it's fair. It's fair. It's been fair with stunts. At least add best stunt performance. If you're not gonna add two categories of stunt coordination and stunt performer, then do it like how the SAG does stunt performer too by itself, but do it as a stunt ensemble at least. At least do it as that. It's just like give the best stunt ensemble. Then you can consider all of the different stunts in a movie as opposed to one stunt person that did the stunts. So you can consider the entire movie as stunts from the movie and call it, best stunt ensemble performance and give it to all of the stunt actors and actresses or stunt performers. Um, give it to that was in that movie, especially the coordinator. The stunt coordinator gets the award. Maybe the stunt performers, they all get an award. That's right. Ensemble. So they don't have any ensemble stuff in the awards. They give everything individually, really. So I don't know, but that's pretty much that. So now we're just gonna, wrap that up with a bow. I think we're gonna have to probably, because I don't know, Ralph, you're gonna have to chime in on this now. Plus, we're almost at the end of the show time anyway. We're probably gonna have to continue our tournament next week
Yes,
because you
Miss,
know
Mr. Terry did a Steve Harvey. Because I was super busy the previous month, I got the battle lineup that leads to our Sweet 16. I got the lineup back mixed up really badly. So a lot of women that won in our last battle
One.
did not
They won.
the ones that won. Some were not supposed to win, and
How do
because
you know? But how you know they weren't supposed to win?
and I'm saying that they weren't supposed to win because the lineup, the person they were supposed to battle against was wrong.
But I don't mean that they still wouldn't have won.
It doesn't. But
Which is why I said we should just move forward because
Just moving forward,
I
man.
don't think we should go over and do it over because I just think I don't know. I just think that's
well,
counterproductive.
I had thought about that too. I said maybe just go on it, but then I was looking at the list of who won, and one of the things that we say about this battle is that it's cutthroat. So
Exactly.
on the last show,
The throats
so
have been cut. They're bleeding out on the surface.
true. So for an example, in the last time we went this battle, we had Jennifer Garner was going up against Jasmine Guy, and Jennifer Garner won. That was the mistake. The reality was it should have been the battle of Jennifer Garner versus Jennifer Aniston, and then that winner would have been on. Now I thought about it, I said, well, if they won in the last round, do they automatically? Do I just give them a push, fix it? But that doesn't work. So that's why we got to go back and redo it correctly.
The throats have been cut. They have bled out.
Well, they got
7 days. The funerals have happened.
They've already buried them, man. We've already
well,
buried them and moved on.
they got the Borg implant to bring them back to life because I just looked at the lineup.
I'm not going. I'm not going.
And as I said, some people, like, we all had a soft spot, let's say, for Persia White, who lost. But now Persia goes up against somebody else, where now you may sit there and say, wait a minute now.
I did not have a soft spot for Persia White. I was very clear on that. I was very clear on
regardless of her going up against someone else, doesn't necessarily mean she would win.
So Persia White goes up against Christian Bell.
Right. It doesn't necessarily mean she would win.
It doesn't.
Still, remember Christian Bell upset like 2 rounds. You know what I'm saying? She upset 2 people.
Yeah.
Like Christian Bell was actually a tough out.
She is a tough out.
So,
other people,
it doesn't mean that Persia would have beat her. You know what I mean? So I really think we should just take the winners that won and move forward. Because I don't think it'll be much different. Even if it's a little bit different, I don't think it would be much different of an outcome. Because these people,
I really
because I looked at the ones that you sent, the redo that you sent, and I was just like, it'd have been a little bit different, but not. I don't think it'd have been nothing that's going to be so impactful going into the next round.
Well, like the one that would have been Rosalind Sanchez versus Jennifer Love Hewitt. I think that one would have been somewhat different because both of them moved on, but now one of them would have to go. Right.
Yeah, I mean, both of them moved on in their other battles or whatever. And then now but it's probably better that both of them moved on. And that's just sets it. It's still gonna. It's the with all of the people we got lined up for the next round as well. It's still gonna be tough battles, and it's actually better that the two may have moved on because now that makes the next round of battles that much, cutthroat, as you say. Yeah, I think we should just continue. We want to get to the end of this thing before Christmas.
Okay.
We're gonna get to the end of this thing before Christmas, and before we go on our Christmas break, whenever that is, and crown us a winner of this thing. I love Persia. I love Persia, and I voted for Persia anyway, so it's it don't matter. Uh, yeah, I think we should just move forward. It's just I don't want to do the whole because this was still a 32, right? We haven't even got
Yeah,
to
so
Sweet 16 yet.
half of the Sweet 16 is done. The other half, right?
Uh-huh.
The north, the east, and the west part that's in dispute right now because the lineup was messed up. I messed up the lineup.
Well, that's what I
So
mean. I
that
think we should, but technically, had you not noticed that you messed up the lineup or
it would
whatever,
it would it would it
we'd be
would
into Sweet 16.
we be into the Sweet 16. It would have been set.
Yeah, yeah.
We
We need to move on to the Sweet 16.
16. Just
Yeah,
line up accordingly. The throats have been
yeah.
cut.
Throw some big cut, man. We ain't gonna give no more chances. Let's go. Let's get it. Go forward. Let's get this Sweet 16 going, and it's just gonna get more cutthroat. It's just gonna be even worse because people are gonna be going up against people. It's gonna be tougher as it goes. It's probably better we didn't do it this week anyway, because all of our usual audience, they haven't showed up today, so they really love when we do these these things. So
Okay. All right.
yeah, let's
I
just do
will
it.
I will I will
Probably
some
show up
I
because they
will
knew
somehow figure this out.
they
I will
probably didn't
somehow
show up.
figure it out.
They probably didn't show because they knew we were probably going to spoil Wakanda forever. And
That's why they like, nah, we ain't going to this one. We'll probably catch our views on the back end on this one. People are gonna come back and see what we were saying about Wakanda Forever. But yeah, man, set it up, Ralph. Set up the Sweet 16, bro.
All
We
right.
already know the winners from last time. Drop these people in their slots and let's get it on, as Mills Lane says. Let's get it on. So yeah, that's that. We at the on that note, we're coming to the end of the show. But yeah, man, I'm trying to reach back out to Persia to get her, see if she wants to come on the show, maybe before the end of the year, and set that stuff up. I'm still obviously gonna set up bringing on before the end of the year. I got to get the cast of Groupie on, and I got to get the cast of Playing Dirty on as well, because we're expected to both of those projects are expected to drop before the end of the year. So I haven't gotten my solid release date yet. So but they're definitely, I'm gonna bring them on regardless, because I know that between now and he said please, what are you talking about? Before Real Talk Network is over, what's he talking about? Before you continue to tie this female tournament, because I don't know. Joseph, you always put stuff in
I
what's
think
the
he's
word,
asking for
in
like
sections.
his top Native American
Yeah.
Indian actor and actresses. Beyond West Studi, as far as actor, I don't know a Native American actress. I think Linda Carter is Native American.
Yeah, I think so.
I
Or is
think
she
she is.
Mexican? Well, is she Native American? I don't remember. Or she's Mexican. Could be
Linda
because of
Carter is
Mexican.
Mexican.
They're Mexican. Okay.
Moon,
Um.
Blood God is oh wait, no, that's a dude, ain't it?
I don't know.
Moon Blood God is a girl. That's Zappa's kid.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. He said because it's Native American Heritage, Native American Indian Heritage Day. Um. So where did he put her? Did he put them up? May
He
not know who they are, but
he
I didn't
did
see
he
him put
did
them
he
up.
did put him up. Like I said, I know as far as Native American males, I know West Studi, I know Graham Greene, I know those two guys. But as far as females, he listed a whole bunch of Native American females, and I was like, I don't know who none of these ladies are. I would have to look them up to even start formulating some sort of
I
opinion
mean,
about.
Sofia Vergara. I mean, you call it what you want, but they are of Aztec and Mayan descent. If you're Mexican, so yeah, they are still natives of Central America. Well, technically, that's a part of North America, depending on how you look at it.
Well,
Um,
I think he's talking about Native American as far as Indian.
but that's still
Mhm.
American. Whether it's South
Mhm.
Central, it doesn't matter. They're still American. Whether you're talking about North American, South American, they're still American.
Right.
So, yeah,
Okay, so I'm trying to see where he put his list. He put them all separately
Yeah.
instead of by. So he put in Irene Bindud.
So I'm saying I don't know who she is.
I don't know who these people are either.
he didn't put what they play what they acted in
No.
the
No.
movie that they
Yeah.
acted in.
Nah. Yeah,
No.
Joseph. You didn't put the where would we know them from, or where do you know them from? Not saying it's still your list. That's cool, but you're not letting us know where I'm dropping them up there so people can see. Kimberly Guerrero. Where do you know all of these people from? I don't know any of these actors, and
Mm-mm.
maybe I should, or maybe I've seen them and just don't know who they are. Shannon Baker,
Who?
Pam Grier.
Well, we
Uh,
know Pam Grier.
right, Pam Grier, of course we know. That's the only one that I've seen and I know. So, Patricia Velasquez. That
Oh, that
sounds familiar.
yeah,
Huh?
yeah, she sounds familiar.
That sounds familiar. Then Sachin Little Feather, excuse me.
I know who she is. She's the woman that came
Yeah.
out to get the Oscar for
She came out
for
and got the
Brando.
Oscar for Brando. Yeah.
I think she recently passed
She
away.
just recently passed away. Yeah. She sure did. Um he said Little Feather already. Yeah. And finally number 10 he has Ashley Bull. I don't know who these people are, Joseph, but good job putting putting your list up there. So then you go. He's a typo between my top 10. Okay. John. Okay, yeah. Hey, it's all good.
See,
So
that's where we need. This is where we need Larry. Larry, where are you?
Larry be like, oh yeah. Oh, so and so Little
I
Feather. She was in this movie, that movie.
guarantee you. How many people are on this list?
10.
He's a
Well,
10.
20. 10 guys, 10 girls.
I guarantee you, Larry knows 18 of them.
He
I
probably does.
He
guarantee.
probably does. He
He
probably does.
probably does. Larry, man. Shout out to Larry, man. He's the fourth council member. Now
As
he's
a
like
matter,
the
you know what
the
you
one
do?
that you never
If-
see at the council.
Oh, you know what you do? You know what you do? Take Joseph's list and post it in our private group chat and ask Larry what he think. And I guarantee you, I'd be.
I'd put money that he know that he tell you scene, movie, year. I wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
I'm not being funny. I'm dead serious.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think he
no,
I think he probably
you're
would
right.
do that.
You're right. Larry's that dude, man. He's like a walking
I
archive.
and listen, I could tell you this for a fact. I got invited out to one of his very good friends. This guy used to own a movie theater. I believe
Mm-hmm.
it was in it was somewhere between Babylon or somewhere
Mm-hmm.
in that
Yeah.
area. Got the guy's name. But Larry
Mm-hmm.
had invited me over to come to their cookout, their annual cookout that they have at the end of every summer.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you, I sat there dumbfounded because I I just sat there listening to them go
Yeah.
back and forth.
Listening to I forgot the gentleman's name too, but I know he was actually the father-in-law of a good friend of mine, Todd Hayes. I believe he was the father-in-law of my boy Todd. Shout out to Todd Hayes and the Hayes family. Gary, Crystal. Um,
Yeah, but
it was his wife's father, I believe. So
yeah, but
yeah,
Ralph, his house, you would love this guy's house.
yeah,
Yeah.
This guy, and when I say listen, his wife is awesome because
Mhm.
anybody else's wife would have been like, "Fool, get out, you and your movies."
Oh
Because
Mhm.
wow.
from room to room, Ralph, floor to
For the
ceiling,
movie.
Yeah,
he
movie
outdid
posters.
VHS, Betamax, posters, dolls, memorabilia,
Yeah,
posters, actual film. I-
yeah,
Bro,
film canister, film reels,
reels.
Jeez.
stuff like that. Yeah, he had all that stuff, man. It was like
This
he said he
guy,
used to own a movie theater, so he had a lot of stuff.
this guy had a whole. He had a whole thing. Like it took everything within me not to like. I was literally geeking out. He had a bumblebee. He had this guy just had stuff. I mean,
He does that stuff.
you if you and also because he owned a movie theater, so like
Hmm.
some
Yeah,
of the props and some of the things that the older movie theaters used to get, he had all of this stuff in his house. I mean, walking into their house was
yeah.
like you could. I'll put it like this: you could spend.
Hmm.
I put it like this: I'm 52. I could watch every movie that's in that house from 52 back to zero, and still probably wouldn't finish watching everything in that house.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I
there's a
know
lot of
somebody like that. This guy named
yeah,
Dapper Dan. His apartment is
uh,
like that. I mean, he's got
yeah,
movies behind movies on walls. He's
from
got
all
posters.
different
He's got hell. He's
from
got. And,
decades,
and
all a lot
I
of
was looking around his
decades.
apartment. He actually has four milk crates full of laser disc. And I was like, do you still got the laser disc? Because honestly,
Hmm.
and this is honest, I've never seen a movie on laser disc. I've never seen one.
I
I
did. My first movie that I ever saw
Hmm.
was Jurassic Park.
Nope,
You
I
know,
have never
the
seen.
first movie I saw on Laserdisc was Bram Stoker's Dracula. I saw the directors. That was the one that I saw that really impressed me. How Coppola had the entire cast read the book. They all were around the table, a round table, and they took turns and they read the actual novel of Bram Stoker's Dracula. That was like the extra scenes, like the behind the scenes stuff, and that was
Mhm.
on the laser disc. That was on the laser disc. I was
But
watching that.
I always
Really
heard that
cool.
the one that on laser this the one to watch is 2001. I've always heard that that's the one to watch. 2001 Space
Well,
Odyssey.
because they designed the 2001, I believe, was the kind of sort of like the I don't know if it was the first one or not, but if I'm not mistaken, like the whole premise of like THX and all of that stuff
Yeah.
was all
Hmm.
wrapped around that
Yeah,
when,
yeah.
when when they did that. Like I said, the only reason why I got to watch Jurassic Park was because I work for a company called Excelsior Designs. They're an Italian imported Italian furniture company where I put like this: their dining sets for 10 course, and this was back in 1995, 96. Their dinette sets for 10 was about $12,000.
Hmm.
Damn.
Like
Yeah, so I mean, the not Blu-ray, the laser disc. Those were interesting. Like I said, when I watched Bram Stoker's Dracula, it was a nice, different experience on there. Oh, by the way, congratulations, Kev, to your Commanders defeated the
no, no,
undefeated.
no, no.
Oh my God, Kev,
I'm
come
I'm wa- I'm literally watching the game while we're talking.
Yeah.
on, you're watching the game.
We're up by 20. I didn't want to assume that we won because we're up by 20.
I didn't want to assume that we won. Well, sorry.
Wow.
Spoiler. It's been spoiled. You
and,
won.
number 17 just did a Jefferson. catch.
Yeah, bro. Congratulations to my Vikings. Went into Buffalo, did what everybody was saying we couldn't
Man,
do.
that
We went
I'm
in
sorry.
there.
I didn't see the game. I saw the highlights and I was like, that had to be some game to watch, man.
Bro, I had to drink a whole bottle of my Atlanta after that game, bro. Cause
Yo,
I
yo,
was,
Ralph, this Negro is funny. Yo, this dude just
I,
yo, I was texting him, then he called me. He be like, I'll call you back.
yeah, because I started getting superstitious. I'm like, wait a minute, I was not on the phone and we were doing good. Let me get off. You know, I
Oh,
was like,
I had that. Yo, I had that same thing when I'm watching the Cowboys. I feel like if I'm actually watching the game, they don't
yeah.
do well.
They
But when
don't
I
do it.
don't
And that,
watch them,
don't you hate that? It's like
yep,
your own team, and you feel like you can't watch them. I
yep.
feel that way a lot with the Mets. Like when I'm watching the Mets, I can have the ticker on my ESPN on my phone, and I'm like, oh yes, the Mets they scored 10 runs. Then I'll watch them, and it's like they forgot how to play baseball, and I'm
Yeah,
like, what is going
I
on,
put
man?
them. I put the mojo on them.
While we were sitting here at the beginning of the show, it was, the game was already like an hour and a half in. And I took my hat because my daughter kept telling me all day yesterday. She was like, "Why you got that hat on? Washington ain't playing today. Take that hat off in the house." And finally, I broke down and took it off because I was like, it's football Sunday. I'm home, so I took it off because we don't like wearing hats in the house or whatever. So, but tonight I went to go reach for my hat. I picked it up
Hmm.
and I was about to put it on, and someone said, don't you put that hat on." And I went to go put it down, and I put the hat on my knee. And then the voice in my head said, "Didn't I tell you not to put that hat on? It's on your knee. It's still on. Take it off.
Yeah,
The game ain't
yeah.
over."
Somebody texted me talking about some, oh, what about this has nothing to do with nothing with the trending topic. Somebody's like, oh, sometimes these cats they get it a little twisted. I'm the other Clark. I'm not Herbert Clark. I don't talk about trending topics like Kanye West and stuff like that. You know,
Oh, brother,
but
today. I
but
sorry. Go ahead.
Dave Chappelle, however, that's a
Man,
television show, Saturday Night Live. Dave Chappelle's Saturday Night Live monologue was just awesome. It was so Dave Chappelle.
observantly
Spot on.
stupid.
It was spot
I
on. He said
man,
he's
I dropped
observantly stupid.
when he said that. Man, I
Yo,
was eating my food. I had to drop it on the floor. Like what?
yeah. He said Herschel Walker. He said, I hate to talk bad about him because he's a black man. He said, but he's observantly stupid. Yo, and everything he said, spot on. And of
Hmm.
course, right now he's catching back. I've never heard of so many damn correlations and stuff until just recently. Like, what the hell is all these correlations coming out of nowhere? Anti-defamation, blah blah blah, correlation. I'm like, who the hell are these guys?
No, they've been around forever. But here's the thing: just like and I'm going to keep saying this, just like Dave Chappelle didn't say nothing anti-Semitic, neither did Kanye West, and definitely Kyrie Irving didn't say nothing anti-Semitic, and neither was the show that he put the YouTube link to wasn't anti-Semitic either.
Well,
Nothing anti.
the bottom
Actually,
line
what it
is,
was very Semitic. But Dave Chappelle did nothing wrong, and he said it
but
in
he
the
don't care.
beginning of his
He don't
monologue.
care. Dave Chappelle is a
That's how
man.
you beat. That's how you buy time.
He's like, that's how you buy yourself some time. That was funny. And but the funny thing is this: Dave Chappelle is gonna always be Dave Chappelle. He's not worrying about all that other stuff because he's already put himself in a position where he doesn't have to rely on that
But
those
but
people.
but here's the thing, and I like the way, and I don't agree with everything that Charlemagne says because sometimes he's an idiot, but whatever. Today he said something that was very, very spot on, and he said just like you said. Even though he knows about a lot of these coalitions and stuff, but his point was, you know what? I'm tired of y'all, and I'm paraphrasing what he said. He's like, why don't y'all tell us what is anti-Semitic instead of always talking about every time somebody says something wrong. it's anti-Semitic, and we
Or
don't know.
what you deem wrong, or what you deem anti-Semitic. Because guess what? Nobody, we all know what is anti-Negro, and people still say it. So,
Yeah.
and we make it very clear what is anti-Negro, and
But
people
when
still
we
say it
start
and do
putting
it.
you on the
So,
face,
if we're gonna complete, if we're gonna sit here and go tit for tat, so we can go back and look at all of these. So, Birth of a Nation is not anti-black. It's in the Library of Congress or whatever it is. It's one of those
Hmm.
films that's preserved or something like that. That film
and,
isn't anti-black.
and and what you need to ask
Hell,
them,
is it all in the family? Anti-black, anti-Jewish, anti-everything, and it's recognized as one of the greatest shows ever made.
agreed.
Great.
I'm
So I
just
mean,
saying.
let's be honest. So you're gonna be nitpicking on every little thing. I mean, like I said, you could go with Birth of a Nation. Oh hell, why can't we? Why aren't we trying to get all mad about the fact of all of those movies, Cleopatra, and all of these movies that they made using white people?
And you know what? And
You
it's
know
so funny, and it's so funny you say that because the very movie that Kyrie Irving was talking about talks
Mhm.
exactly about that.
Right, right. No, so I'm saying. So my point is, I agree with Charmaine saying, well, why don't you just tell us what anti-Semitic, what y'all deem anti-Semitic is? So maybe there's a conversation.
Do you
People
have
can have conversations to be had. So you can't just when people make a statement, you know, oh, that's anti-Semitic. Dave Chappelle literally came out there and made jokes about other people and you're saying, "Oh, it's anti-Semitic." What are
but
you talking
meanwhile,
about?
but meanwhile, if a Jewish person makes those same comments,
Mhm.
it's
They're uneducated.
oh,
They didn't know. They
you're
didn't know.
you're 100% right, Ralph. Yep,
Yep.
I'm
So
yep.
they said they don't educate. So anyway, not
Oh,
to
but
be all on that, but
because you mentioned your brother. Your brother today was spot on about
mhm.
21 Savage, and I know this is a
Oh
movie, show,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that foolishness with Nas. Thank
Oh
you, Heaven
yeah,
Hollywood, because I
yeah,
can't.
yeah. Big
I
up the
got to work
heavyweight
now, but I'm
Hollywood.
trying to call and text you. So I'm just saying
Right,
thank you for there tonight for
right.
that.
Go and check out the Heaven Hollywood experiences, stuff that the videos that he made. Talking about 21 Savage, who basically said that Nas is irrelevant,
Yeah.
and he made a statement
What?
like that. Yeah, and then he's like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Nas just won a Grammy one album ago. Like he's still relevant. He just released an album, another dope album, and you're gonna say because what they do is people like him, they relate a lot of the younger people they relate relevance to age. They think because you're older in this business, you're not relevant. But there's nothing about Nas that isn't better than 21 Savage. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah, wait,
like,
wait, but you know what? I got a question, and maybe I'm because I'm older and I'm just hyper theorizing. How come it's the people that ain't never really did stuff want to go at people that did something and say, well, now you're irrelevant? Didn't they
yeah,
have to do something to become relevant? And
yeah,
like not
exactly.
for nothing,
Wait,
if
wait, Ralph.
Nas
Here's
if
his,
Nas did this,
wait, Ralph. Here's his point. You want to be even more dumbfounded? Here's his point. He said because only your fan base buys your music, you're not irrelevant. You're no longer relevant because only your fan base buy. But doesn't that mean you're relevant to somebody?
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. You're relevant to somebody. So what are they talking about? And finally, they were talking. Like I said, the person who was texting me was like, "Oh yeah," because they're talking about Kanye, who said, about when he was talking about, he said something about Jay-Z and Beyonce, and they're controlled. You can't control me, right? And then he says something about, his mom was sacrificed and this, that, and the other. And the people are, like posting this and they're like, oh, you're not talking about this. I was like, dude, first of all, I'm going to say this one time only on my television. Well, our uh, film show. But anyway, this is not new news. Kanye West said that years ago. like back in 2000, maybe 15. Well, it was like right. It was after his mother died. He clearly said out of his own mouth, uh, in an interview, when they asked him, he was talking about how people they make sacrifices for fame. There's always a sacrifice for fame. That's what he's saying. The guy said, "Well, what did you sacrifice, Kanye, for your fame?" He said, "My mother." He literally said that out of his mouth. And then he said, "If I would have never moved to Hollywood and moved to California, but my mother would still be alive. She wouldn't be just a." So then
He
he
said
says that, right?
he
Said that out of
said
his own.
my mother wasn't built to deal with the stresses of.
Mhm. But the point is, he literally said that that. What did you have to sacrifice, my mother? So now he's doubled down on that. Years later, he's saying it again, and people are now just hearing it or just paying attention. And oh yeah, he's a I said, well, look, whatever way, whatever you believe in, and whatever it is that happens in this industry, if he's going to say that his mother was sacrificed, well, someone had to sacrifice her, and that someone had to be you, because the way it works, or the way if you go by the way this thing supposedly works, the way they go about it, the rule of it is someone is sacrificed, but someone has to benefit from it.
Yeah.
Well, who benefited from her death? Who benefited, after her death? You did. You became a billionaire. You actually was able to do everything that you set out to do after that.
And the door that closed was.
So if anything, hey, the answer's right in front of you. I don't have to say it with my own mouth. And he said it in that interview. And think about it. He said it in his lyrics. And I quote, "I sold my soul to the devil. Yeah, it was a crappy deal, but at least it came with a few toys, like a Happy Meal." This is exactly this is exactly out of his own mouth.
So should I feel bad for Kanye? Not really.
I mean, you made
Not
decisions,
really.
I've been saying from day one, decisions come with consequences, no matter what your decision is. And you make a choice, there's a consequence. So, and I leave it at that, because, like I said before, I've already checked out on that dude long time ago. I've checked out on him back when he, insulted Harry Tubman, and when he said, and he insulted
Slavery
every
was a
black man,
choice.
right? He insulted every one of our ancestors that died, in slavery, by saying slavery is a choice. So, I checked out on him then. So anyway, that's it. That's all the time he's getting from us. But check out Heaven Hollywood if you want to get more information on those things, especially the 21 Savage dumb behind comment, when it's like, bruh, please. Relevant or not,
Shut up.
Nas will chew you up with something in his mouth. Pause. You know what I'm saying? He'll sit and be drinking a glass. He'll be drinking a Hennessy and still chew your ass up. You're not even on his level.
I'm not even.
You don't even deserve to be. You don't even deserve to be in the same sentence as him.
I'm not.
And I'm gonna leave it at
I'm
that.
not even a Nas fan. And one of Nas's worst songs is probably better than any one of 21 Savage's best
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah, and that's just the way it is. And yes, everyone's gonna have your fans. It's just, I mean, that statement about he just has a fan base that buys his stuff. Well, dude, that's what's
not
with
true,
you.
because I'm not
That's
a
the
Nas
same.
fan.
That's the
And
same
I
thing with.
listen to his albums.
No, but what I'm saying is that goes for almost any artist. You sell
Every
records
artist.
because, right. You sell records because you have a fan base. I don't buy your records. I don't think any one of us buy your records, and a lot of people from our era does not buy your records. So, what's the difference between you and him? Your
And here's
fan
what,
base
and here's
buys
what
your records.
and here's what I love with that dude. One of the dudes at the end said on that Clubhouse thing. He went to a recent Nas concert, and he
He
said
said he saw
there was
all
people
different
there
ages.
from 16 to 60.
Well,
Which is
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's the truth because Nas has reinvented himself as an artist, especially when he added this dude Hit Boy. Hit Boy is a young producer that produced for other younger artists, and he appeals to this generation. Hit Boy makes all of Nas's beats now, and that's why everyone's been listening to Nas. He's kind of like he really is the blueprint of J. Cole. You know what I'm saying? So J. Cole, people who always listen to J. Cole, they going to listen to Nas. You know what I'm saying? So, the younger people that grew up and listened to J. Cole and even Kendrick Lamar for that matter, they're gonna listen to people like Nas and
Mm-hmm.
like his stuff. So 21 Savage is just, I mean, come on, bro.
Stupid.
Like, first of all, your name is stupid. You know what I'm saying? From the beginning. Like, you have a dumbass name. You write it, you write in that same boat as people like the freaking Weekend. Or you don't even know Weekend's a great artist, but that's a stupid name.
Young,
Like,
little Ratchet, little Yachty, little Baby, little, all of them.
like, God, boy, is that original. But anyway, that's that. Y'all check out Evan Hollywood on that. We're gonna end the show on that note and go out and check Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever. Black Panther is in theaters now. Check it out, man. If you haven't seen The Woman King before it comes out of theaters, check it out. If you haven't seen Till yet before it comes out of theaters, check it out. If you haven't seen Black Adam yet before it goes out of theaters, check it out. I mean,
Definitely check out Black.
go right. Go and have an experience. Go and enjoy yourself.
Black experience,
Yeah.
especially see the Woman King if
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
in a theater near you. Because
Yeah.
if you
Just
like the
go.
Adele Melage, if you like anything about Black Panther, a lot of stuff in Black Panther was based off the Dahomey people.
All right. So go ahead and go and enjoy. Take these. It's an opportunity to go and enjoy these films. And the last thing I'll end that on is because they talked about in the Sway. Shout out to Sway in the morning and his crew. Uh, One thing they said about that is, Ryan Coogler is a part of a big conglomerate. He's a big part of bringing black excellence. When you make a film about black excellence, you employ so many black professionals at their job, and that goes unseen and untalked about too much. You know, when I pick crews, I try to employ I try to employ black people, in this because there's a lot of black people in the filmmaking business that specialize in things like that. And it's not that I don't employ white people because I do as well. But I think it's a point because when people I was asked a question in an interview one time about do I feel like uh I feel responsible for telling black stories, and my answer was no. No, I do not feel responsible to tell black stories because I tell stories that I like to tell, and I'm black. So I don't know if that's I don't know if that's what you call a black story. But I said no from what y'all look at, but I do feel a responsibility to employ black people if I can. Doesn't mean that all my, if actors, I look at things a different way when it comes to roles. Like roles, I look at the best actor, and they may be black, they may not be black. But when it comes to the actual, when it comes to the actual, um, job itself, I like to give those opportunities if I can. And my entire and my team, I didn't even put them together. My team was put together by my partner, Trouble. He and him being Jamaican, you know, a lot of his team is either if they're not Jamaican, they're of Caribbean descent, whether it's Trini or whatever, and he does that, and because they're all professionals at what they do, but they don't get all of the same opportunities out there. Someone like Ryan Coogler's on a big platform and a big stage, and he's starting from home, and he's giving people jobs, and they're giving them opportunity. Not just jobs, he's giving them opportunity, because sometimes that's all you need. I don't need a job, I need an opportunity. That's what they need, because what's happening is you're going to get back from me the best as well. So I just wanted to end on that. Go check these things out, because these films gave opportunities to a lot of people that may not got the opportunities or wasn't getting them, and now it might change their life, but they will get opportunities going forward. So on that note, peace out, everybody.